At the entry point, there's no problem with PEZA or DTI. I think our entrepreneurs and investors, especially Filipino investors, have problem with other local agencies, especially local governments, clearance with the DNR, and probably about a dozen government agencies. These are where the problem lies, at the entry point. They complain of time-consuming and high-cost transaction just to get their business going or started. And they talk of corruption. What do you say to that?
Maybe only as a backgrounder, I can cite a World Bank study, which was first published in 2004, Doing Business and Understanding Regulation. And I'll cite the 2004 version first. The Philippines, it will take an entrepreneur 18 steps to be able to register his business and start formally. It will take him an average of 59 days, and it will cost him $249, all in all. So in Thailand, the number of steps is 9, less than us, 42 days to complete the process, and it will cost the Thai entrepreneur 144 days. Maybe let's move on to the upper end of the line. In Sweden, the number of steps is only 3. It will take the Swede entrepreneur 16 days at a cost of $190. The U.S. is the role model. It will take the entrepreneur in the U.S. 5 steps to get it done in 4 days and at a cost of $210. But really, at the worst case scenario is what's happening in Angola, where it is a 14-step process, less than the Philippines, but it will take the Angolan entrepreneur 146 days. It will cost him $5,531, not including the hidden costs. So we're somewhere in the middle in terms of bureaucratic red tape. But let me cite one good development. In the 2005 version of the same study, from 18 steps, we have reduced this to only 11 in terms of number of days, from 59 days to 50 days. So if we keep this up, in due time we'll be just like the U.S., hopefully, in terms of efficiency.
What would you say to complaints of some investors or businessmen that they're worried about investing because they feel that government or government agencies change the rules in the middle of the game?
Let me answer that. We always assure the investors, especially we go out and invite them to come here, and they're very worried about that. I think that's one of the problems with, I don't want to mention the country, but there's some countries in Asia that do that. So, but we assure them that we will not change the rules in the middle of the game, and that if there's any change, it will be for the better. So there have been some legislations lately, and PEZA really does its own fight so that we really do not change the rules in the middle of the game. We will lose our credibility.
What is the situation about trade logistics right now? This involves procedures, time and cost for exporter to bring or transport their goods from the factory to the ship or plane. How efficient are we now?
I'll share with you. They say that in the Philippines, our infrastructure is not that great. Yes, we have poorer roads than the other countries. We have our traffic sometimes could be terrible. But let me share with you that given these constraints, we're still able to do a turnaround time of at least 4 days. 4 days. As compared to our other Asian neighbors with very good infrastructure, etc. And it takes them more than that. Even just to take this out from their Bureau of Customs, it takes them a week. But now we have attained 4 days. Most of the PEZA locators can manufacture, bring in the goods, and in 4 days' time send out. We have also others who have done it in 2 days. Intel is doing it already in 1 day, 24 hours. So that's not really very valid. That perception, again, it could be a perception, but the reality is that we are coping well.
And that includes, as you mentioned, customs clearance,
yes,
pre-shipment inspections, and technical quality inspection.
Yes, yes, because as I said, in PEZA, we have people there even at night, 24, even Saturdays and Sundays, to assist them. These are referring to foreign export-oriented companies.
All right, with your indulgence, we're just going to take a short break and we'll get back with the Executive Director Fulgencio. We will continue this discussion in a moment. Our topic, investment barriers. You are engaged in Public Policy Forum, an ANC and International Academy of Management and Economics Special.
Welcome to Public Policy Forum. We're still talking to Attorney Lilia B. De Lima, Director General of PEZA, and Executive Director Virgilio Fulgencio of the DTI Center for Industrial Competitiveness. In the publication of the World Bank, International Financial Corporation, and Oxford University Press, it mentions several areas of concern which affect easing or doing of business in a country. In the Philippines, one of the most pressing is about hiring and firing of labor. What do you say about that?
Only maybe in that area, let me say that while I believe that the government should protect the rights of workers, there is a need to adopt a less restrictive and more flexible policy in terms of giving the employer the maximum leeway to run its business, rather than be restrictive, because at the end of the day, in the long term, a restrictive labor code environment will restrict investments and will not produce the necessary jobs we need to stimulate the economy.
What do you consider to be the most pressing stumbling block, or the biggest stumbling block to investing in the Philippines?
Yvette, I don't like to call it stumbling block, but we really have a high cost of power. You see, last year we had a reform bill, and the implementation is taking a little bit some time. But like any birthing pains, we're just experiencing the birthing pains now, and hopefully when the power reform bill is fully implemented, the law is fully implemented, we'll have some improvement in our power costs.
There is also a concern among foreign chambers of commerce in Makati about the nationality rule. I'm referring to the 60-40 requirements to own land, 70-30 in other industries, and even 100% like in the mass media.
You see, Nolly, we have what we call the negative list. And all these years, the negative list and the investment priorities plan are being cut. Less and less of the negative list. Of course, there's still remaining the ownership of land, because this is enshrined in our Constitution. But be that as it may, foreigners, while they may not be able to own land, they can lease land for a period of 50 years, renewable for another 25 years, or a total of 75 years, which is already more than a lifetime. And they can lease. And I think every time there's a review of the IPP, the Investment Priorities Plan, we're trying to reduce the negative list unless it violates the constitutional provisions, which we are all mandated to follow.
How do our incentives fare or compare to our neighboring Asian countries?
Give or take a little, we're comparable, if not better, with our other neighboring countries. We give income tax holidays of 4 to 8 years maximum. If you are inside PESA, after the income tax holidays, you're given the option to go to a special tax regime of 5% on gross, less allowable deductions. You have, we have many there. After the tax and duty-free importation of capital equipment, spare parts and supplies, and another 50% reduction on the cost of training. So I said, give or take a little, we are comparable.